大家好。First thing I got to do, I got my translator is to have to put my phone on silent so my wife don't call me.
手机关静音，不然我太太会打电话给我。
She knows I'm over here and she forget the time zone difference. So anyway.
我太太知道我来台北，可是有时候她搞不清楚时区的差别。
Anyway, it's good to see all of you. It's lots of energy. Isn't Jack great?
大家很棒，还是很棒，对不对
Yeah, I need to take Jack home with me because he gave such a good introduction about me.
因为杰克把我介绍的这么好，我决定把他带回去美国。
Every time I listen to this sort of awards and all this stuff, the reason why I need Jack to go home with me is because when I tell my sons about these things, they sort of fall off the bed laughing.
为什么我要把杰克带回去？因为我刚刚得这个奖，我跟我的小孩讲说我得什么奖，他们根本就没有反应，所以杰克才讲得这么好。
It's always interesting. The last award is interesting because it's about a lifetime achievement award, and it's for all the work I've done over the last 30 years or so.
这个奖项事实上是很特别，它是终身成就奖，是给我过去30年的成
就。The thing is with Lifetime Achievement Award, they always give it too late because they give it to you when you're old.
得终身成就奖的人都觉得这奖太晚颁给我，我都这么老了还颁给我。
I can't make any money with that award. So if they give it to me when I was young, it's much better. But too late.
这个太老了才得奖就没钱可以赚了，要年轻一点还可以捞一笔，对不对？
But the most important thing to recognize, right, is the fact that these awards is not just about me. It's really about what we do in Nskin as a scientific team.
其实这个奖不是颁给我个人的，这个奖属于所有如新的科学团队的成员。
Right, over the years, you know, in Nskin, we have about 75 scientists. And it's really the effort and the dedication of that scientific team that results in this kind of recognition.
其实这种奖是所有的75位如新科学团队的科学家共同努力的成果。
And that is most important to remember that because nowadays when you do science, you really need a team together to do it. You cannot do it with just one person.
大家一定要记得这件事情，因为现在从事科学研究只有一个人是做不来的，一定要有一个团队才可以。
So it's really their award rather than just mine.
所以这个奖项是给我所有团队的成员伙伴。
But there's one thing you need to remember though, okay? And that is when we launch products and so on, if you don't like the products, it's not my fault, it's their fault.
不过请大家记得，推出新产品，如果你不喜欢这个产品，不是我的错，是我的团队成员的错。
But if you like the product, it's all because of me.
喜欢产品，那都是我的功劳。
So, yeah. And today, I don't know whether you notice it, we have one of my friends sitting here from US, Gene.
我们有好多好朋友来自美国的Gene在这里。
And the reason why I'm speaking in English is because I want Gene to understand because he's going to spend the next 3 hours listening to our Chinese.
我想这一场我要讲英文，因为他接下来要听好长的讲中文的演讲，所以第一场让他听得懂。
So hopefully that will make his life a little bit easier this evening.
希望他今天晚上有一部分至少是可以懂。
So as many of you know, Nskin is really, truly what we call a science-based company.
如新公司就是以科学为基础的一个公司。
And if you have followed Nskin for many, many years, we really want to make sure that we understand the aging process scientifically.
多年以来，如新都非常努力要找出老化的根源跟科 到底在哪。
And the important thing is, we are not just, when we say we are doing science, it's not just our 75 scientists, we also have many scientific advisors to check what we do.
除了我们的75个人的科学团队之外，我们还有很多的顾问帮我们检查我们的成品跟进度。
So most recently, over the last 5 years, we have also been investing in a lot of technology to make sure that we can also add technology, example AI, to our product innovation process.
最近几年，我们也大幅投资科技，好比说 AI，来确定我们的产品都能够赶得上科技这一波。
So you can see, when we do science, and we have been not doing anything over the last 3 years, by the way, right? During the COVID pandemic, our scientists have been very busy to making sure that we keep our future very bright with new products and so on.
过去3年，虽然疫情让我们绑手绑脚，但是我们的科学家一点都没有闲下来，还是非常努力把握，一定要把我们的未来通通都规划得很好，确保未来一片光明。
And hopefully tonight I will share with you some of the exciting things we are going to do, and we are going to sort of introduce to all of you in the next, I would imagine, 6 to 12 months and longer.
今天我就要跟大家分享我们最新的科学研究的进展，以及跟大家说一说我们未来半年到1年有什么样新的预期的活动。
Now, when you do science, science is sort of a subject that you cannot just talk.
做科学不能用讲而已。
Because everybody talks. In fact, everybody talks so much is because it's free. You can say anything you want.
人嘴2张皮，说话是没有成本的，你随便怎么讲都可以。
And it's because talk is cheap, it's free in a sense. In science, you cannot just talk, you have to do.
但是做科学不能只有讲的，你必须要做出东西来才可以。
The way to do science is that you have to analyze and you have to conduct scientific studies.
要分析再进行科学的研究才可以。
Right. For example, during our discovery process, many of you may remember we have this process that we call the 6S process. 对吗？
如果大家记得，我们有一个流程叫做6个 S 的流程，大家还记得吗？
Right. You know that. So really, there are many steps in the 6S process. But what does it all mean? It means one simple thing. And that is we want to make sure our products are safe and effective.
那这个6个 S 到底代表什么意思？简单来讲，就是一定要确保我们的产品很安全又有效果。
And in order to do that, we cannot just say and look at a product and say it's safe and effective. We have to experiment. We have to scientifically study it to get the results and the data to prove that it's safe and effective.
为了要证明我们的资料我们的产品是安全又有效，不能只有讲，必须有科学的研究，搜集资料、数据分析，用科学来验证。
So this R&D process that we do a lot of science, and sometimes our scientists will be here talking to you, and just like me tonight, we'll tell you we'll be sharing a lot of scientific results with you.
所以在做研发的过程中，有时候我们的科学家会找出时间来跟大家见面，分享科学研究的成果。
Why do we do that? Because sometimes the scientific results are very difficult to understand.
因为有时候科学研究的结果很难一看就了解。
Some of you may not even know what these results mean, but we want to make sure that we share the data to review to once again prove that we are doing those scientific studies.
因为有些科学研究的结果大家看是看不懂，但是我们科学家愿意用大家听得懂的话跟大家分享，向大家证明我们的产品都是有科学根据。
That's really the purpose of the scientific studies, is to do and get the data and not just say something.
所以科学研究的目的就是要证明，而不是只有说我们做得到而已。
So here's a good example. HLOC, again, that's a concept that we tried to introduce to you, I think it's more than 10 years now.
我想大家都知道 HLOC 这个技术推出大概10年左右了吧。
It's quite complicated. And the reason why we did HLOC was because we want to do something better. And that is, we do not want to do any more products to remove the signs or the symptoms of aging. We want to identify the true cause of aging in the body.
为什么要做这个这么复杂的科学研究呢？事实上，我们心里面想的是，我们不要只处理表面的这些发现的现象而已，我们要去直击我们所有的这些现象根源，它背后的原因是什么。
And it's not cheap to be able to truly develop HLOC, because as you can see here, it's more than $200 million that we have spent over the last 10 years to develop and to bring HLOC to a level of understanding that is truly remarkable.
其实这里面还要花大钱，过去10年来，我们花了2亿美金才达到我们今天的成果，这个样子的量。
In fact, we actually decided to make HLOC even better. Even at the very beginning, we bought a company called LifeGen.
为了要让
No, go ahead.
为了要让 HLOC 更好，所以我们一开始就设定要把它做到最好，所以我们就买了一个公司叫做 LifeGen。
And why did we do that? Because we look at LifeGen, and what we found and discovered is the fact that they have a very large database that understands aging at the genetic level.
为什么要买LifeGen 这个公司呢？因为这个公司有一个很大的资料库，可以了解老化在基因层级到底发生什么事。
So together with that understanding and our understanding of natural products and the type of ingredients and what they do, we think that combination is unique and powerful.
我想我们的产品有了这个科学知识，再加上我们对于产品成分天然的这个要求，这个产品一定是最棒的产品。
And to this day, there's still not any other competition that can actually be able to duplicate HLOC.
HLOC 这个技术到今天为止，还没有任何一个竞争者可以复制我们这个技术。
And that's because HLOC is not something you can say you have. You also have something like that. You have to do or duplicate what we have done over the last 10, 15 years.
所以这个技术不是别人说我也会，我也有就算了，你必须要证明你能够复制如新的技术跟知识。
So for our scientists, what we believe HLOC is really a competitive advantage.
所以这就是我们很强的竞争的优势。
Here's another example. This is back in 2003. We introduced a new technology that's called a biophotonic scanner.
2003年，我们推出了一个产品，是一个扫描仪。
Because we understand at that point in time, we need a technology that we can put into your hands to be able for you to prove that our products work.
这个产品的特色就是不是科学家讲，而是把产品交给大家，用大家自己做，去证明这个产品是有用的，自己体会。
And again, this technology alone, it costs more than $100 million that we have to invest to make it work.
这个产品最后投入的经费超过1亿美金。
So we still remain the only company that actually has a technology that can answer the question, how do you know the supplements work, especially an antioxidant supplement?
所以我们是这个业界唯一一家可以回答这个问题的公司，也就是说，你怎么知道你所吃的营养补充品是有用的？你怎么样抗氧化？
The power of this particular technology, the scanner, is the fact that in 2 minutes, you can see that a product is working and not just believe that a product is working.
这个扫描仪的特色就是2分钟你就可以看得见这个效果，而不是嘴巴我告诉你有用而已。
So, and you can do it, and not just a scientist.
而且这个检验是每个人都可以做，不是只有科学家才做得到。
And frankly, when we first launched this particular technology, everybody was saying that this technology is fake.
我们刚刚推出这个科技的时候，别人都说这假的。
Yeah, everybody is saying, oh, Nskin made this technology or made this particular machine to prove, to show how good their products are, and nothing else will work.
其实别人都说如新推这个产品只是为了要想办法说他们的产品有用而已，这个产品是没有别的用途的。
In fact, they were saying we have a little man sitting inside the machine that looked through the hole, and when this little man see a competitor distributor, we turn the score down.
还有人开玩笑说，其实这个机器里面躲了一个小人，这个机器有一个小洞，如果他看来测试人是别家的这个经营者的话，他就把那个分数调得很低。
Right. And then when we see a successful Nskin leader, we make the score really high.
如果是成功的如新伙伴，就把那个分数转到很高。
Not true, because we have done many studies. Here's a study that we did where we took blood of a person and measure the antioxidant level.
其实刚刚那个都是乱讲，这是科学的证明，就是这张图。
And in the same person, we use a scanner to measure the same antioxidant.
所以我们一方面用液型来测量它的抗氧化的反应，另外用这个仪器来测量。
And what we found, there was perfect correlation between the blood antioxidant and the skin antioxidant.
所以我们研究的结果发现，验血里面的抗氧化的作用跟皮肤的抗氧化的指标是非常完全相关的。
In fact, we show that the skin antioxidant score was more accurate than the blood.
结果我们还发现，用皮肤来侦测抗氧化的数据比验血更准。
So, once again, we have done the studies to show that this technology is not fake.
所以我们就用科学来证明这个科技绝对不是造假。
And we've looked at some, and here's another criticism over the years. Okay, your juice, the juice that you have, why should I really buy that juice? I can drink any juice, and it's probably cheaper, and it works just as well.
那另外还有人笑我们说，如新你这个果汁的产品有什么用？我干嘛喝你的果汁？我喝别人的果汁便宜，说不定还更有用。
Here we compare 3 juices, all right, they're all fruit juices, and only the juice that we blended together that we know has antioxidant levels in it show an improvement in antioxidant protection.
我们的科学实验测量了3种不同的综合果汁，结果显示，只有我们的配方的综合果汁显示抗氧化的作用特别明显。
And the other 2 juices did not show anything.
那另外2个综合果汁的配方就没有什么作用。
Here's the one that we did another study. Now we turn to looking at are all vitamin supplements created equal?
那我们另外还有一个是来看看我们以前的长时以来就有的维他命的产品到底效果怎么样。
And here we show once again that certain vitamin supplements will not improve your antioxidant protection.
那我们发现有一些维生素的补充品其实对于抗氧化是没有什么作用的。
Whereas I cannot mention names, right? Okay, whatever. I think it's like pack. Anyway, oops, I didn't say that. This vitamin product that we blended together had a very good improvement.
那最后我们发现如新的这个维他命的产品，那法律规定不能讲名字嘛，那大家都知道是什么了，那效果就是真的非常好。
So the thing is, don't believe what I say. I'm not here to tell you what I say is true and you have to take every word because I'm not reading from the Bible.
请大家不要尽信我说的，我来跟大家讲的不是圣经上讲的东西。
But what I'm sharing with you would be the scientific results that you should believe.
我跟大家分享的，事实上是科学研究的结果，大家应该可以相信科学吧。
Okay, so now you have TRME, and I gather, in fact, Taiwan is the first market to launch TRME, right?
台湾是全球第一个推出 TRME 的市场，对不对？
Well, thank you. Because it's always, when I look at weight management in general, Taiwan has always been our guinea pig.
那每次我们要想要推一些体重管理的时候，我们第一个选的实验的场所就是台湾。
I don't know why. Only Mr. Chang can help me translate that. When I say that guinea pig in Hong Kong, they say, "Huh? What is a guinea pig?" But Mr. Chen understands that metaphor and idiom. Anyway, so you made it very successful, and thank you, because now all the other markets are looking at TRME and saying, "Oh, this is really a good system for weight management."
所以现在全世界都了解了 TRME 用在体重管理上真是太棒。
And that's not all. We have a patent on TRME weight management system. That's very special because not many patents are issued for weight management.
另外，我们有一个很特别的强项，就是我们有一个专利，这个是体重管理的专利。因为要申请体重的管理的专利很难。
Because once again, in the patent office, especially in the US, I cannot say, "Oh, this is good." We have to provide the data to say that this weight management system is safe and effective and that it works. We have to give them the data.
其实这还蛮难的，因为美国的专利办公室审核很严格，你不能跟他说我跟你讲有用就可以，你要拿出数据，要证明，还要确认产品安全有效，他才会发专利。
How do we do this? You know, this is not something that's sort of like, oh, I got this dream, right, at night. And then suddenly, oh, this is great. I can make TRME next morning.
这个东西是怎么来的？不是半夜有人托梦，第二天醒来就做出来，不是这样。
It's not that easy. In fact, that reminds me of a story. I used to explain 6S process to my wife. Yeah.
我讲一个小故事。以前我常常解释什么是6S 给我太太听。
Way back when we first started Pharmanex, and every night before we go to sleep, I will talk about 6S because it's very exciting to me.
因为那个时候我们刚刚创办了华茂，那个时候我每天晚上睡觉就跟他讲6S 到底是什么什么什么，因为那时候我觉得好棒好棒。
Yeah, I told her how we select the best raw materials, how we standardize, how we sort of make sure it's safe, and so on and so forth. When I turn over, in less than 5 minutes, she's snoring.
我跟我太太讲说，我们如何慎选原料。严格的标准，确保安全。可是讲不到5分钟，我太太就开始打呼了。
That was the first time I get an indication, you know, maybe not so exciting to talk about 6S to my wife in bed. Yeah.
所以后来我就知道，在床上睡觉的时候，不要跟太太讲6S，蛮无聊的。
The thing that Chinese wives are very, very strange people.
华裔的太太都还蛮奇怪的。
When you talk about your children, they are very excited.
想小孩都很高兴，都很兴奋。
Anyway, back to this. So there are hundreds of ingredients we have screened or evaluated to make sure we get these 3 types of ingredients that are perfect for TRME.
其实我们调查研究了好几百种成分，最后选出这3个最适合 TRME。
And this is all selected. Again, we would not have been able to do this kind of selection if we don't have the H-log technology.
其实要做到这一点，就是因为我们有 H-log 的技术，要不然就做不到。
So, And that's what happened. And these are some of the studies, for example, with this kind of blend of ingredients. Here's an important point too. You know, you can say, why don't you just use one ingredient? Why do you use all three ingredients together? Because we always find when we mix these ingredients together, they work better.
所以，另外我们就慢慢的把这个最好的比例调出来。人家会说，你为什么不一种分开用就好，或者是3种随便放在一起？其实不是的，我们的研究发现，3种东西放在一起要有特定的比例，才会有好的效果。
And it's not always just the ingredients themselves; it's also the ratio of the ingredients, the amounts that we mix together, that is truly important.
所以最重要的就是每一个成分要放多少，那个比例最重要。
This is very similar to cooking, right? I mean, when you cook, you cannot just put all salt in there.
这个跟煮饭差不多，煮饭就不能一直放很多盐嘛，对不对？
And neither can you put all sugar in there.
也不能放糖放一大堆嘛。
So all your ingredients, all the things that you put in, they have to mix in the right ratio to give you the perfect flavor.
所以调味每一个东西的比例都有一定的比例，东西煮出来才会好吃。
So you can see on this one, there is a special ratio. When we got it right, it actually got the fat cells from being big and it became smaller.
所以这个红色的圈圈就是告诉大家，在这个成分这种比例之下，可以让脂肪的细胞变小。
So this is another study that we did. So we were also asking the question, why does that happen, right? Because one of the things that will make a fat cell smaller is to increase what we call the resting metabolic rate.
那怎么样让脂肪细胞变小呢？就是要提升我们所谓的静止代谢率。
Because we sort of know that all of you are quite lazy and you're not going to run a marathon every day.
我知道大家还蛮懒的，不会每天都去跑马拉松，对不对？
Because you're going to sit down and watch your favorite Chinese TV show.
所以大家都每天都坐着看电视而已。
So the trick is, even when you're sitting down or lying on a couch, if I can get your metabolic rate, which you call the resting one, to sort of at a higher rate, in other words, to drive it to a higher rate, you will burn more calories.
所以，如果大家躺着或者是坐着的时候，静止的时候，如果你静止的时候，新陈代谢的比例可以提高的话，你的脂肪就会变得比较少。
And from this scientific study, we showed that that particular mixture or blend of ingredients will actually increase the RMR.
所以我们刚刚就证明了，刚刚那个比例的确可以提高你的静止代谢率。
Yeah. So this is another ingredient that we look at, right? And it's called the prickly pear.
这个产品是这个天然的成分叫做仙人掌果。
And what we want to do is to make sure that with this prickly pear, we can reduce some of the swelling around the ankles and some of the joints.
所以仙人掌果的效用，我们认为它可以消肿，消除在脚踝还有那个关节的地方的肿胀。
The reason why we wanted to do this is also TRME. It's not just about losing weight. We also want to improve the shape of your body.
为什么要有这个产品呢？就是我们觉得 TRME 不是让大家减重而已
Right.
同时还要让你保持身形。
And this prickly pear will help us by those reduction of the swellings and so on in those particular joints around the legs and the arms and so forth. You will get a better looking shape.
如果仙人掌果粉可以让你的关节、手脚的关节地方可以不要那么肿胀的话，你的体型就会变漂亮。
Okay, what's the difference between TRME and we had a previous system that's called the TR90?
所以 TRME 跟 TR90 到底不一样在哪里呢？
Because we learned with TR90, one of the things is, once again, many of you are very, very impatient.
第一个就是我们觉得我们太了解大家都没什么耐心。
I cannot hold your attention if I don't give you a little bit of weight loss very early on.
所以如果用了以后没有很快有结果，大家就放弃了。
You have no patience.
大家没有耐心。
Yeah. So I need to hold you, right? So the TRME was designed in a way to give you a quick weight loss.
所以 TRME 设计的理念就是很快要看到体重减轻的结果。
It's so that when you see it, you are a bit more motivated to continue with the system.
所以大家很快看到结果，就有动力继续做下去。
But it's still important for you. It's not just for 14 days. You are still, the optimal system is still going all the way to 90 days to achieve the full results.
所以一开始的14天会有初步的结果，但是14天不是就结束了，因为最后的目标还是要做完完整的90天，达到最终的目的。
Yeah. In fact, talking about impatience, it's not just here in Taiwan. We Americans are even more impatient.
其实没耐心的人，美国人比台湾人还没有耐心。
Yeah. They always want what we call instant gratification.
大家都想马上就要有结果。
So, yeah, it will be good for them. So this mulberry leaf that we put in, what does it do?
接下来是桑叶，桑叶有什么作用呢？
You know, mulberry leaf is a favorite food of silkworm, right?
大家都知道蚕宝宝吃桑叶嘛。
Yeah. So we have to sacrifice a lot of those silkworms to get mulberry leaf to all of you.
所以呢，为了要给大家足够的桑叶，我们只好牺牲一堆蚕宝宝了。
So no more silk cloth for the next 10 years.
未来10年都没有丝可以用了。开玩笑。
The reason why we use this mulberry leaf is because it's really very sort of, in a way, this mulberry leaf, the active ingredient in there, helps to sort of stop the carbohydrates from entering your blood as glucose or sugar.
桑叶里面有一个成分，它可以抑制碳水化合物变成糖进入你的身体血液里面。
So that's very important because the more sugar that you get into the blood, it can only go two ways, right? You can either use the glucose to drive your energy, and if you don't use up the glucose as energy, it's going to get converted into fat.
血液里的糖最后会到哪里去？第一个就是当能量消耗掉。可是如果你不消耗这个能量，最后它就变成脂肪。
And typically, you don't know. For example, right? If you run a mile, I'll say 1 km, you only burn about 100 calories. You use very little sugar.
其实大家知道吗？如果你去跑步跑1公里，你只燃烧了100卡而已。
So
糖是燃烧很少。
So any weight management system is, I want to make sure that the peak of the glucose can be lowered to a more manageable level.
所以这些的研究，这些大家努力就是把血糖的最高值往下压。
So here's the experiment that shows that red line is without taking mulberry leaf.
这里面有2条线，红色的是没有使用桑叶的时候血糖的成分。
You notice the sugar is much higher than the pulse in the blood. These are all blood sugar. It's much higher than the blood sugar in a person that has taken the mulberry leaf extract.
所以血液里面的血糖的浓度没有使用桑叶成分的比有使用桑叶的成分的浓度高很多。
And what we found, the reason is because it's slower, is because the mulberry leaf is preventing the carbohydrates from entering the bloodstream.
为什么桑叶有这个效果？就是它会抑制碳水化合物变成糖进入血液的这个流程。
So that's the purpose of the mulberry leaf in TRME. Now, we have another ingredient, and that's called the saffron.
刚刚说的是 TRME 里的桑叶，接下来讲番红花。
Now, saffron comes from the stamen of a flower.
其实番红花是来自花的花蕊。
this is a very special flower. And literally, this stamen has to be carefully picked by hand.
要采番红花，一定要用手工一叶一叶的轻轻的去采。
You can imagine that pile of stamen containing the saffron. That small pile already comes from thousands and thousands of flowers.
那这个图片上的这一坨番红花，事实上里面包含了好几千片番红花，一片一片用手采。
And that's where we extract the saffron from. In fact, the cost of saffron, the last time I checked, is actually more expensive than gold.
其实手工很贵，所以我不久以前有确认一下，番红花单位的重量比黄金还要贵。
Because it has a lot of, there's a lot of hand labor, the manual labor to recover and harvest the saffron.
因为要萃取番红花，全部都要用手工的。
Why is it important, right? We can use another cheap ingredient that doesn't do anything. The reason is, again, knowing human behavior. You guys love to snack.
我知道为什么我们要用这么贵的东西，我们随便弄一个就好了嘛，就是简单的就好。因为我们也知道人性，大家很喜欢吃零食。
And snacking in general is a habit, an eating habit that you do.Without realizing you're eating too much.
其实大家吃零食的时候都不觉得我吃太多，所以就吃太多。
Because you usually snacking, you're actually doing something else, right?
那大家吃零食都是一边做事一边吃东西嘛。
I bet you, especially peanuts, I bet you don't. If you count the number of peanuts you eat, you will probably be very frightened.
我跟大家说，我觉得大家一定吃花生，你根本不知道你吃了多少粒。你真的去算你吃多少粒，一定吓死。
And most snack have a lot of salt because salt gives you that kind of sensation that you should keep on eating.
另外，零食里面含盐的分量很高，因为你吃盐，你就会觉得你很幸福。
So anyway.The key is also we want to make sure that you can at least have an opportunity to reduce your snacking, and that is what saffron does. It makes you feel fuller.
番红花会让你觉得有饱足感，有饱足感你就不会去吃零食了。
Yeah, and that is because this saffron, when you take it, it actually goes to your brain.And it releases a substance, a brain substance that's called serotonin.
那这个番红花吃了以后，就会脑筋里面就会产生一个物质叫做 serotonin.
And serotonin is the brain substance that controls whether you are full or you think you are hungry.
那 serotonin 血清素就会来，就是我们在身体里面控制我们的饿的感觉的东西。
So that's the reason why we use saffron a lot.
所以这就是番红花的作用。
Okay, so TRME, as I already mentioned, is a complete system, and it's all about making sure that your shape that you get from the weight loss looks better.
其实刚刚跟大家说了 ，TRME 是一个完整的体系。它就是在大家在管理体重之外，还可以做体态做得更好。
We want to make sure that all the food that you eat, there's only one way the food goes into your body, and it's through your mouth, right?
食物进入体内唯一的通道就是嘴巴。
So there is a process when it goes through the stomach and goes to your lower intestine. That's where absorption happens, glucose and everything, and fat.
所以进入了胃之后，进入了肠子之后，消化作用就开始。这个时候，你的身体就会吸收血糖，就会吸收脂肪。
So if we can block that, then it's a good thing. It will reduce those two weight gaining substances from going too high.
所以如果我们能够控制这个流程，我们就可以不要让这个让你体重增加这两个东西进入你的体内。
And then finally, I already mentioned feeling full is about controlling your brain.
另外，要有饱足感，也是从脑袋来控制。
Because many of us don't realize it. For For weight management, the most important organ or tissue in your body is not the fat, it's in fact your brain.
其实管理体重最重要的一个器官就是你的脑袋。
Because our brain respond to, for example, stress, right, by eating.
因为我们有压力的时候，脑袋就会送出讯息说吃东西。
Yeah. Because eating gives us, or at least gives us pleasure.
因为吃东西就很快乐。
Right. And pleasure comes from a part of the brain where actually that's why people take drugs.
所以你的快乐就会在你的脑袋里面产生一个让你很兴奋的作用。其实毒品也是这样作用的。
It's the same part of the brain that eating and all the drug addicts they use the same part of the brain because it's pleasure. It's just coming from different stimulus.
只是这个毒品跟我们的好的东西，它刺激的脑部的部位是一样的。
So it's a whole system. All right, so that's TME. I've given you really, hopefully, some background. Why? There's a method to our madness.
希望大家了解，我们这么疯狂，做了这么多事情，背后都是有道理的。
Right. And frankly, I'm not giving you a magic pill.
现在我们没有什么万用的万灵丹给大家。
Because really, it's about a lifestyle change so that you can actually maintain your weight for much longer than just a diet.
所以希望大家将来要改的是生活的形态，所以它不是饮食习惯的改变而已，你要改变生活形态，体重的管理才可长可久。
Okay. Should I tell you something about the future?
要不要讲一下未来啊？
Okay. All right. So let me see what I can say without going to jail. So okay.
要想得很小心，不小心就被抓走了。
All right. So my flight is tomorrow morning, right? Okay.
我明天就回去美国了。
Okay. So here is the thing. Recently, I already mentioned we have not been sitting still during the COVID pandemic. We've been thinking a lot, and one of the things that we've been thinking about and looking more and more exciting is a circulation system in the body that is called the lymphatic system.
其实，在疫情期间，我们非常努力在研究，其中一个研究的对象就是身体循环系统的一个部分，就是淋巴。
And we're beginning to understand that this lymphatic system is as important in circulating certain things as blood circulation.
其实淋巴的循环，我们现在知道跟血液的循环一样重要。
One of the differences between the lymphatic system and the blood circulation is the fact that the lymphatic system doesn't have a pump.
淋巴循环跟血液循环不一样的是，血液有一个马达，有一个帮浦在推。
So what is the pump in the blood circulation?
所以请问大家，血液里的帮浦是什么？
There you go. You all recognize immediately from your answer that the heart is the pump. It pumps the blood. It pumps against gravity to move your body around, to move the blood around the body.
所以因为有心脏跳动，我们才能够对抗地吸引力，把血往上打。
The lymphatic system doesn't have a pump, so it cannot move. Every time we stand up like this, it pulls to the bottom of your feet.
所以淋巴系统跟血液不一样，淋巴系统没有帮浦，所以你站着的时候，淋巴就会往下沉。
And especially if you're standing still or not moving a lot, therefore your muscles are not moving, the lymph flow is affected.
所以如果你久站不动，你身体一直保持静止，你的淋巴的循环就会越来越低。
And you got to move the lymphatic fluid up because the two big reservoirs are just underneath your armpit.
其实我们一定要动，淋巴才会循环，因为淋巴最大的两个主要的区域是在你的腋下两块。
Okay, and there are three important things that at least two important functions of the lymphatic system. And that is, it is a purification system in the body. It helps to purify the body, to get rid of toxic metabolites.
那淋巴有几个重要的功能，第一个，它是净化跟排毒，把不好的东西弄出去。
Right. Now, when I talk about toxic metabolites, you may not realize it, but your body every day produces toxic substances from metabolism.
其实大家要知道，我们正常的新陈代谢，每天在身体里面就会产生一些有毒的物质。
Right? If you don't believe me, think about this. When your kidneys are not functioning, what do you die from? You die from toxicity.
所以，如果大家的肾脏功能不健全，你会怎么办？发生什么事，你就会中毒死亡。
Right? And therefore, those renal patients, when their kidneys are not functioning, they have to go for dialysis. All the dialysis does is to remove these toxic metabolites from the blood and return clean blood into the body.
肾脏有问题的人就没有办法排泄这些东西，所以要去洗肾。洗肾就是用外面的方法把身体里面的毒素排出去，换干净的血液进来。
And the beginning of that process is lymph flow that delivers those toxic metabolites into the blood.
其实这个排毒的过程，第一个步骤就是淋巴系统把有毒的物质放到血液里面去。
That's an important system. And also, another important function is the transport of immune cells throughout the body.
另外，还有一个重要的功能，就是连通全身相关的免疫细胞。
So just these two examples of the function of the lymph flow should tell you how important it is.
所以这样大家就知道淋巴的循环是非常重要的一件事情。
So what we have been thinking of, since the lymphatic system can only be moved by muscle contraction, perhaps we can design a device that can actually be pressed against the skin, so therefore close to the muscle, to move, to improve and enhance lymph flow.
所以要淋巴液要流动，只能靠肌肉的收缩。所以我们想说，有没有办法做一样东西，你放在皮肤上面，就会让你的肌肉产生收缩，你的淋巴液就会开始流动。
And that's what the blue, those double humps that you see on this cartoon, that actually is the bottom of the new device that we have just developed.
所以这个蓝色的地方，其实就是我们这个新的产品，将来它长的这个样子，就是放在你的皮肤上，就是这个头。
Right. There's no other device yet that be able to move this kind of lymph flow.
现在还没有其他的任何产品可以促进你的淋巴液的流通。
So I already described and explained how the toxins, the toxic metabolites, are being removed from the body by lymph flow.
这个就是淋巴排毒的解说。
So really, it's a purification system, right? When you think about it, it's almost like you don't see it, but it's almost the same as the city sewage system.
大家看不到淋巴在作用，你就把淋巴想成我们都会区里面的下水道、污水排水道。
Can you imagine every time we flush something, have you ever thought about where does all that waste go?
大家冲马桶，大家会想说冲下去的地方冲到哪里去？冲下去的东西冲到哪里去了呢？
If a city such as Taipei, if you don't have an efficient sewage system that carries all that waste away, it's going to accumulate and it's going to poison the city.
就像台北这么大的都市，如果没有好的、有效率的卫生下水道，这些东西积存在那边就会产生毒害。
So this is what it delivers. This new device that we have is the fact that it can actually revitalize. It gives you a sense of well-being.
那这个装置新的产品给大家第一个功能就是让你恢复你的健康。
And also, when you look at it, because it's touching the skin, it also will help to improve the health of the skin.
另外，因为这个产品会碰到直接接触在皮肤上面的，也会改善你的肤质。
And then finally, when you think about it for the guys, this is not just for the women. You know, to date, most of the devices that we have tend to sort of like women-centric.
那这个产品不是为了女性设计的，现在大部分这一类的产品都是针对女性来的，但是这个不是。
I would imagine that this particular device is actually gender neutral, that both men and women ought to get maximum benefits from it.
这个产品我相信是不分性别，男生女生都会得到很好的效果。
Think about it for the guys, right? When you go, you have lots of young athletes, really buff-looking guys here. So, I mean, after your sport or whatever athletic activity that you do, what do? You have to either massage your muscle, right, to help it relax and sort of get your body to recover again.
所以，就算你是身材很壮的人，你运动之后干嘛？一定要去按摩，你的身体才会放松休息，对不对？
So you can imagine when you do that, you can do that with this particular device.
那将来就可以用这个产品来进行。
So it's really good. So don't borrow it from your girlfriend or your partner, okay? You need to get it on your own.
所以不要用你女朋友的，要自己买一个。
You need to keep one in your gym bag, the one you take to the gym or wherever.
去健身房的时候，那个袋子里就要放一支。
So this lymphatic system, when you look at it, is a third function. And this is the one that I will not go into too much because we are still doing some studies to show that whether that's true. But there are many other studies by other scientists that demonstrate that it can also remove fat.
那第三个功能我就不要讲太多，因为我们还在研究中。可是已经有别的人的研究显示，淋巴系统会排泄脂肪。
So more importantly, right, you're now beginning to see there is a high potential, there is a connection with the TRME system, and also when we launch this device, they can be used together in a very complementary way.
所以大家就知道，这个产品推出来以后，一定是跟 TRME 是配成最好的一对。
Okay, so the other thing is, this is where our technology component is going to play an important role. This is where our AI is going to be very, very important.
而且这个产品是最新的科技产品，它里面有使用到 AI。
Because we're hoping that the direction, and remember I told you that gravity pulls your lymph fluid down, so you've got to move it back up. So this AI will help to guide you in the direction of how you use the device.
我刚刚说了，因为地心引力，所以你的淋巴球会一直往下沉。有了 AI 之后，它就会告诉你，侦测你的身体，告诉你要怎么样用，才让淋巴能够继续流动。
So that's really some new product that will be coming out very, very soon. And I'm hoping that you can see the future is extremely bright, right? And it's time to really make sure that you have the great story to tell when you go and build your organization. This future, Jack mentioned something about empower me. And Jack tells you that this empower me, at the end of the day, what it puts out is a personalized approach to beauty and wellness.
那有了这么多新的产品，这么多新的科技，我相信大家的团队一定会不断的成长，如新的事业一定会成功。刚刚 Jack 在主持人刚刚讲过 ，Empower Me 要给大家的是个人化的美容跟营养补充品。
We will describe a lot of different elements of Empower Me to you, and it can sort of seem complicated, but really each piece is connected together to give you an opportunity, a very simple yet effective way of personalization.
那我们讲 empowerment 会讲很多不同的东西，其实这些东西都是环环相扣的，它最后就形成一个整体的系统，让你的管理变得非常的身体的健康变得非常简单，非常有效。
And if you look at this diagram, there are certain other categories that we also like to fill in with a new product so that you have even more complete product selection possibilities.
另外，我们也在发展其他的类别的产品。总之，就是要把这个系统做到最完美，让大家可以选，可以用。
So that's our dream. You know, like all of you dream about the 梦想 that you talk about, of dreaming about the future. This is what our strategic dreaming is all about.
大家都有梦想，今天跟大家分享的就是我们对于未来的战略的想法跟梦。
This is a company, after all, you know, we have put out a new, what we call it, a new vision 2025 to become an integrated beauty and wellness company.
所以我们大家都知道，2025年的愿景就要成为一个整合的美容以及保健的整体的公司。
And no other company, as of this point, I think, has the breadth of products that can achieve that particular goal.
我相信没有其他任何一个竞争者有这么广的、这么完整的产品线可以达成这个目标。
They can be strong in one category, but they're not going to be as strong in the second category of nutrition or vice versa.
可能别的人只有某一项强，但是其他就不太好。
So that's where we're driving towards, and it's going to be very exciting. After all, you know, here's another criticism that we hear all the time about Nskin, and that is that Nskin is, next year we're going to be 40 years old.
那另外还有人批评说，如新不就40岁都老了吗？
Why join Nskin? Because it's not a ground floor opportunity anymore.
那人家说，人家都40年，你现在才去参与就来不及了。
But I'm hoping I've proven to you and given you some of the history, especially on the product side and so on, that Nskin actually renews itself every 2 to 3 years.
所以今天跟大家报告的，就是希望大家能够了解，如新每2-3年就会越来越年轻，越来越年轻。
So, you know.